Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's time to start the baby's crib. If any of you are thinking about building your own crib for your grandchild or child, my piece of advice is to go on to any of the marketplaces or anything like that and find an old used crib. This one here I picked up for free. You can get them for 20 bucks, 50 bucks, it doesn't matter. Some of them are beat up. The reason why I do that is, for one, when you're trying to find a blueprint for one online, it's really hard. And one of the reasons why is they are responsible if something is illegal. You know, you have to have a certain amount of spacing between the slats and everything. So if you get one that's already made that you can use sort of as a template, but not really, the main reason I get it, I do use part of it for a template, but one thing, you have to have the spring, and the spring is always in good shape. Throw away the actual mattress. And the spring is, just look at that thing, it looks brand new. And what I really need, and the hardest part of building your own crib, is knowing these dimensions, where the actual screw holes have to go. By getting one that's used and beat up, you know that your hardware, your spring here and everything is going to fit these holes, because you know, all of these are about the same size. I mean, baby cribs are pretty universal, so when you get a mattress, they're pretty much all, I'm sure that there are bigger baby mattresses out there, but usually when you go and look for them, they're all the same size. So here I've got, I can build my board, do my own variations any way I want to, but I have a template that tells me exactly where I have to drill these holes. There's a few things I do different with this plastic type wood that they have here. They make it real thin. It fits in the center of this, like this is one of the bottom boards. I will end up making this thicker and having it flush back here, because I end up using I call it a Craig jig, I don't know if that's how you'd call it. And then I screw these in, glue them and screw them like you would do if you're making your own cabinet doors. On the back side you'd get the countersink screw holes and the screws would go in here. So, you know, I do it different than what this crib is, but basically I know that I don't want my space any bigger than this and everything, so I know I'm legal. So now that I explained why I do it that way, it's time to make a way cooler looking crib. The boards I'm using are just sawmill cut boards. They haven't been run through any planer or anything. So basically rough boards, going to be made into a nice crib. So the first thing I'm going to do is, there's the four main posts of the crib. You've got the two sides for the front piece and the two sides for the back piece. Those are wider than any of the other ones. All of the boards that come from, that are rough sawn like that, are usually, you know, around an inch, inch and an eighth. And I need something inch and a half on the back, and I need an inch and a 1/16 on the front. So I do happen to have one wide board, so I want to make sure that I do that first, so I have to glue together less stuff. All I'm doing now is just gluing stuff together that I know I'm going to have to cut pieces out of. Just like my other crib video, it's like you start out talking about it and then there isn't all that much to talk about because you don't really know how it's going to turn out. Because I'm going to change ideas as I go through this. But the first thing I need to do is get some wood to work with, and that means I have to get it glued up. So looking at these little slat like spindles, they're 1 7/8 wide. They're about 3/8 thick. I definitely want to be about 5/8, I think, and I'll stick with the 1 7/8. I like to play with the depths of the crib, but as far as the width goes, I want to stay just about like this so I get the same spacing throughout the whole thing. And since I'm about done gluing stuff for tonight, because it's already after 7 o'clock, I definitely want to start on those little spindles because I remember the last crib I did, they were the most monotonous thing to do if you're doing them all at one time. When I rough cut these, I'll do them at 2 1/4 inches. Then I can use the planer to get them down to that 1 7/8. Pretty important though that you cut them all the same exact width before you run them through the planer because you'll never get them the same. They have to be the same here, and then I know if I run it through 4 times on the planer, it'll get it down to 1 7/8 and they'll all be the same. And I really should be referring to this as a joiner, but if you look on the back tag, it does say it's a planer joiner. So for me, I always just happen to call this the planer, and it's kind of like a skill saw. You call it a skill saw, but really it's a circular saw. So anyway, when I say that, this is what I mean. And you will never hear me refer to this as a joiner. This is also my planer. It is so hard for me to pick out what boards to use for the little spindles because, you know, you don't want to ruin a beautiful board. You try to look for ones that have stuff like that in them that you can cut up. I guess I should look back here and see if any of these are better candidates. $13 of them finished, 25 to go. For those of you that are new to the channels, you don't watch Joe and Zach Survival or the Exploring Life channel or the Northern Seclusion channel, and you're wondering why I'm building a crib, my son Zachary and my daughter-in-law Samantha are due to have a little baby girl on September 24th. So of course I've known about this for a long time, but things have been busy, and it was definitely time to get started on this. So I did build one, if you didn't watch before, for my daughter Emily and her husband Jason for their 2 babies. And actually that crib is being used because Bridget is just tiny right now, so I had to make a second one. Okay everyone, well, I'm going to end this video for a part 1. It's just kind of getting the project started. The next one will definitely be over a several day period. But this one here was just to get it going. Like I say, the hardest part about doing any project is getting off your butt and starting it. I'm going to let all this stuff dry. Come at it another day. It's 8:30 at night. I still have to take a shower. Find something to make for supper. And one of these next nights I really have to mow the grass. I'll see you guys on the next video.